Pro boxing fans, here at your call, London Calling is done. GBM's first show in the capital. Dave Coldwell commentating on TalkSport. Talk to me about that one. How was that for you?
My commentating debut for TalkSport. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the fights on that card. Reza Ali, great body punch in there. Obviously, Lennox has gone close, but we're told he is better, and it is a body injury.
We was getting updates. It's not nice because it's your ribs, but it's when you're getting. It's not nice when you see a fighter getting stretched out. But it's the first time I've ever seen anyone stretch it out from a body shot, to be fair. But because it's a body shot, it's not a head shot, you can still celebrate and talk about a fantastic shot that did the damage, you know what I mean, without being too crass. When you watch that back, that left hook was something special. It really was. But I think the whole night on the across the board, it was a good night. It was a really good night. You know, the main event, that last round to sign off the show was unbelievable. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. You know, and then you've got Tommy Welsh. I think made a bit of a statement there tonight. You know, he's been learning, developing, coming through, and then you know his opponent thought, I'm going to start fast and put it on you, come out swinging as a southpaw, and it's like Tommy went, oh okay then. And we saw that bit of fire about him, and that was a great performance. Yeah, it was a good night, a really good night.
You've done been involved in this sort of game, the promotion game, very, very long time ago.
When my beard was black. Yeah.
But obviously you've been around Matchroom, Queensbury, and everything else. Where do you think GBM are right now? Obviously, we know that the production is really high and they're trying to set high standards. But right now, where do you see GBM and the quick rise of GBM?
See that? I felt that draft.
Yeah, no.
I think they're doing a fantastic job. You know, they've got a good team in place. They're all creative. You know, look at what they've done to your call. They're bringing things. Production values are spectacular, really are. As good as TV shows, Neil. Do you know what I mean? But they're getting good fights on. Ultimately, people entertained. If people are entertained and they get the show and they get the charisma and the personalities, then it's going to grow. It's going to snowball. All they need now is somebody to take a punt and give them some TV days, and they deserve that. You know, it's not just this show. I've been at several GBM shows. You know, and they're always the same, and the atmospheres are always good. It's like a new crowd, but it's not. It's like a new vibe, and I think that's what they deserve, because they're doing a great job in the sport. But it's like anything, it takes time and it takes perseverance, and sometimes it doesn't happen straight away like you want it to do. You just have to keep going, keep doing it, and then it happens.
I do want to quickly talk about other things quickly before I do let you go. It seems like from what Bob Arum said on TalkSport just a little while ago that Tyson Fury is going to activate the rematch clause against Oleksandr Usyk, and Usyk's asked that IBF for an exemption to keep the IBF belt for that fight. I want to ask you, can Tyson Fury rectify the problems in that fight from the last few rounds and beat Oleksandr Usyk in that rematch?
It was a close, hard-fought fight, but I had Usyk a clear winner, if you know what I mean. I had him winning it by 2 or 3 rounds. But it was still a close, hard-fought fight where both fighters had moments of success. So that means, can he reverse it? Yeah, because it went a one-sided beatdown where you can't see any way out that the other man's going to win. So yeah, I can see how he can win the rematch. I would be surprised if the rematch happens. Yeah, I would, and I certainly don't think it'll happen October. I think Usyk's ticked all the boxes. If I was Usyk, I'd just walk off into the sunset.
There's a lot of money in Saudi though, right? Like
Money, but I don't get the vibe that Usyk's all about the money.
He's made a fair few pounds.
Exactly. 2 AJ fights. I know he got paid well for Bellew. 2 AJ fights. He's been undisputed cruiserweight, but 2 AJ fights, and then the Dubois fight, and then Tyson Fury out in Saudi Arabia. Are you telling me he's not made millions and millions and millions? So, if you're not somebody that's motivated by money, you're 37, things are getting hard, You're away from your family and your kids. Can you be asked? Is it worth it? I don't know.
You know, I was in Riyadh and I didn't get that vibe off him. The vibe that I got off him, he goes, I just love boxing. I need boxing. So basically, it seems that he's not going to. But I do want to ask you then, in that case, Tyson Fury, AJ is a fight that Bob Arum was talking about. Then he got asked about, and he said, "Listen, that fight is going to happen. It is, regardless of them losing now."
That's why I kind of thought, and I'm not saying I don't know anything, but I kind of thought I can see that one getting slipped in first, because if Fury to lose to Usyk again, 2 on the bounce there, mentally also he's getting older, he's getting more wear and tear. Does he then feel confident going into an AJ fight? Is it still the same fight? But whereas going straight into it, I think it's very intriguing. It's like Tyson's coming off for a loss. AJ is coming off of looking spectacular. All right, against Ngannou, but looking spectacular and having that that aura about him again. Then it's like, ooh, it's like this now, and maybe now's the time rather than damaging it anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because we've been after this fight for so long, and then somebody gets beat, and it like diminishes it a little bit, and it doesn't, because you'll still want to see it. But I don't want it to get to that state where it's blatantly obvious, like Mayweather Pacquiao. It was blatantly obvious that they weren't at the best, and they were quite away from the best when they fought. You don't want Fury and AJ to be that, where it's blatantly obvious where they're not the best anymore. Do you know what I mean? So
Final before I let you go, Ryan Garcia. It seems like the B samples come back. There was no surprise. Obviously, it's the same sample.
You understand what it is? You piss in the same mug. They split it into 2, seal it. There you go. Just in case one gets contaminated along the way or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is.
But with Ryan Garcia, he just needs to serve his due now. Is that what needs to happen now?
Do you know what? I'm sick of it all. It's like he's failed the drugs test. Everybody's interviewing him, and he's doing all these celeb rounds at the shows and stuff as though he's not doing anything, as though nothing's happening. Nobody's on him about it. It's like, failed the drug test, mate. You need to now go through a process to prove it. You can't just turn around and say, "Oh, I'm innocent, this. It's kind of like, what's the point in having a drug test if nobody's going to take it seriously? You know, you got caught with Osterin. There's no way of that being in your system without it being put there. You can't accidentally fucking got Osterin in, mate. You know, when people say, "Oh, it's only," that's what makes me laugh. When people say about when there's a the amounts, the levels. People talk about levels. Oh, there was only a tiny level. So when you go out, I don't drink, right? So people out there that go out on the piss, right, and they have loads of drink, right, and say right now they go the 3 times over limit, right, and they drive the car and they get breathalyzed and they get caught 3 times over limit. Now they just come from the pub, right? In the morning, right, that same person won't now be 3 times over limit. It'll come down because it's coming out of his system, right? And then it'll still, sometimes, because they fail the next morning, don't they? But it's not the same amount as what they had, right? So then, later on in the day, it now starts coming out, and you've got a little bit of alcohol still in your blood, right? And you fail. Oh, you're only just over, but I'm afraid you're over. That's it. You've lost your license or whatever. You're just over, right? That doesn't mean that he only had that little sip of alcohol. That means that back then he had loads of fucking alcohol. It's just that now it's out of his system. It's the same as when you take drugs, right? If you're caught with this amount in your system, right, it doesn't mean, well, I only had this amount in the system, it must be off for a little contamination. It can also mean I had a stack load of fucking gear in me, fucking juiced up to max, and now it's on its way out of my system. And you've caught me.
Fair enough. Dave, it is very late. They're all kicking us out. They've started to take down the ring behind us. So it's a pleasure seeing you.
And now, what time are we on? 12:50. I am on my way across London to get a Ministry of Sound because my daughter's DJing. So I'm up until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, fucking in a club. Ministry of Sound. We don't DJ at Ministry of Sound.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
a buzz.
Fair play
So,
to.
that's where I'm going. I got to get freshened up, of course.
You're looking all right. I thought you might be going out after this. You don't normally look like this. I'm joking. Dave Coldwell, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for talking to Pro Boxing fans. Appreciate it, man.